What's up guys, GameNut here, and welcome back to my NFL regular season predictions. It is now week number 6 of the season, but let's of course go ahead and review last week, week number 5, see how well we ended up doing, and as you guys can see, I don't even know what to say. Like, I'm so disappointed, man. Am I falling off or something? Like, I did so bad once again for week 5, man. You guys are seeing it. I only got 6 games guessed correctly. I don't know what happened, man. I just did so bad. I don't even know what, like, excuse to say, like, why I did so bad. I had an awful week of picks, man. Again, like, last week I thought I was going to do decent, but obviously that was not the case. Now, if you look at Madden 20's predictions for week number 5, they did once again slightly do better than us. They actually got 8 games guessed correctly, which means they got 7 wrong. But so that now puts our overall records at me. I'm sitting at 45, 32, and 1. Madden 20 is at 42, 35, and 1. So we still currently hold the lead for the overall record against them, but they're definitely closing that gap a little bit. Alright boys, so week number 6, let's see if this can be a nice bounce back week for us, as obviously back-to-back weeks we got basically under the 50% mark for guessing our games correctly, man. So hopefully we don't make it 3 in a row. But starting things off with Thursday Night Football, of course, we had the New York Giants going on to take the New England Patriots. And honestly, I have the tweet on screen here. You guys are going to see it, even though I don't really feel like I needed to even tweet this out. But obviously I picked the Patriots to win this game. There was no chance the Giants were winning that, man. If somehow the Giants were able to come in there and beat New England at home on Thursday Night Football, literally the football world would have exploded. It would have been crazy. But you guys can see it. Obviously I picked the Patriots. Thankfully, I guess I'm not too cursed, man, you know, picking easy games like that. So we are going to be starting off week number 6, thankfully, with a win. Alright boys, so now jumping into our Sunday games, we have another London matchup this week. We've got the Carolina Panthers, who are now 3-2 after starting 0-2 on their season. They will be going to take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are currently sitting at 2-3. Now, obviously, I know these guys just played each other, you know, only a couple weeks ago. Was it week 2 or week 3 for Thursday Night Football? I think it was week 2. And obviously, we know that the Buccaneers actually did a really good job, and they basically shut down the Panthers, man, and Christian McCaffrey on top of it. However, with this game, I don't think that's going to repeat. I don't see the Bucs, you know, going 2-0 against the Panthers this year. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt, and I think I'm going to give Carolina the win here, man. Obviously, they've definitely bounced back, like I said, 3-0 in the past 3 weeks since Cam Newton has been out, and this guy Kyle Allen's coming out of nowhere. I also saw a stat that the Buccaneers are also very terrible in London, and I don't know, man. I just, like, again, I don't see them putting up that kind of a performance against their division rival, the Panthers, like both times in the same season, man. So I think this time around they'll probably split their games, and I'm going to be going with Carolina. This is crazy, man. When's the last time in NFL history, going into week number 6, we've seen an 0-5 team going to take on an 0-4 team, man? Like, this late into the season, and we've got 2 winless teams about to battle it for the death to see which one's going to get their first one of the season, man. This is going to be a crazy game, man, for sure. But we have the Washington Redskins going to take on the Dolphins. Miami is the home team in this situation, and I'm not really sure which one I want to pick, man. I know whichever team I do pick, I'm sure the opposite one is going to win. But I think just for the sake of it being the home team, I'm going to go with the Dolphins, man. I think they'll get their first win of this season here, and then everybody's going to know, instead of everybody packing on the Dolphins for being the worst team in the league, I think it's going to switch, and everybody's going to realize that the Redskins are the worst team in this situation. And like I said, plus the home field advantage, maybe that'll just have the slight edge, but I don't know, man. But obviously, both of these teams, neither of them are good. So one of them's going to be getting their first win of the season, man. I don't know which one it's going to be, but I guess I'm just going to have to pick the Dolphins. Next up, we have the Philadelphia Eagles. They are 3-2. They are going to be traveling to take on the Minnesota Vikings, who are also sitting at 3-2. I think this is going to be a pretty good game, man. Obviously, I wouldn't necessarily call it a rivalry, but I feel like these guys have met each other a couple of times in the past years, and obviously they've definitely been some good games. But again, I think just for the sake of it being the home team in this situation, I'm going to be going with the Vikings. I mean, obviously, Minnesota still has one of the best defenses in the league, and, you know, the Eagles' offense is okay. They've had their issues. Obviously, they still have some injuries on their offense, you know, with their receivers specifically. And then on top of that, the Eagles have, like, one of the worst secondaries ever. And obviously, I know Kirk Cousins is still a trash can, but just with the way that the Vikings offense is, I just feel like they should be good enough at home, especially with their defense, and then, you know, even just having Dalvin Cook, and hopefully if Kirk Cousins can get his act together, I just feel like everything is in the matchup for the Vikings to be able to come out of this game getting the win. Man, I really wish that the NFL would start like flexing games a lot earlier in the season. I know they necessarily can't do that because they can't just, on the fly be like, hey players, guess what? Instead of playing at 1 p.m. or 4, we're flexing you to the primetime game. Obviously, for that reason, I know they can't do it. I wish that they could though, because this week's Sunday Night Football game, honestly, in my opinion, is not going to be all that interesting. And this game definitely should be primetime. So we have the Houston Texans, who are 3-2, going to take on the Kansas City Chiefs. They are sitting at 4-1. Now, I was sitting here, man, and part of my gut was telling me to pick the Texans, but I think I'm going to change my mind. Obviously, I know that the Chiefs have had their struggles. I mean, I still cannot believe the Colts were able to pull that off last week. Obviously, all you have to do is get to Patrick Mahomes, just bang him up a little bit, and obviously that will help you be able to defeat defeat the Chiefs, man. But I was going to pick the Texans. Obviously, this is probably going to be a shootout. It's going to be a pretty high-scoring game because neither of these defenses, I feel like, are going to be capable of stopping either one of the opposing team's offenses. But in the end result, man, especially Tyreek Hill possibly could be coming back for this game. I just don't want to go against the Chiefs just yet, man. I'm not going to, after having that one fluky game last week, they got taken down by the Colts. I don't think the Chiefs are, just going to start plummeting and all of a sudden become a terrible team and whatnot, So I think the Chiefs, they bounce back this week. They get the win. They still show everybody that they got it. And last week, they make mistakes too. They're a normal NFL team, and I'm still going to be going with Kansas City. This is, like I said, it's still going to be a really good game, probably really high scoring, like 30-plus points at least each team. But I think Kansas City gets it done. Now we have the New Orleans Saints. They are sitting at 4-1, going to take on the Jacksonville Jaguars. They are sitting at 2-3. Like, I still can't believe that the Saints have been doing this good without Drew Brees, man. Like, it's so hard to imagine that, like, the Saints are still dominating the league, or I shouldn't say dominating the league, but they're doing really good, obviously, without their man Drew Brees, right? Like, Teddy Bridgewater, I'm not taking anything away from him. He definitely had a really solid game last week, and I didn't think he was going to beat the Buccaneers because after watching him, like I said before in the last episode, he really didn't look like he was a guy that could manage an offense that Sunday night game against the Cowboys, and I didn't think that he was going to be able to lead this team, to win after win after win, and so far that has been the case, but for some reason, man, I just feel like that's going to end here. I don't see them continuing to dominate. Now, something that would really help my decision here is knowing if Jalen Ramsey's going to play or not. Obviously, that's probably going to be like a game time decision and like an hour before 1 o'clock that they'll let us know. Because if he's playing and locking down Michael Thomas, that's definitely going to impact this game big time. Now, if Jalen Ramsey's not playing, it could go a little bit more in favor of the Saints, but for some reason, man, I'm still sitting here thinking, like, I'm going to pick the Jaguars for this game. Call me crazy, man, but again, like, it's so hard to envision seeing the Saints just continue to win every single week without having their guy Drew Brees and using Teddy Bridgewater to do it. It's crazy to me, man, but I feel like this is the week that they finally break. He finally gets his first loss being with the Saints, and I'm going to be picking Jacksonville. Next up, we have the Seattle Seahawks. They are 4-1, going to take on the Cleveland Browns, who are now sitting at 2-3. The Browns, man, still having their issues, just typical Cleveland stuff, man. Baker Mayfield is having his struggles. I saw on Twitter, I think it was NFL Memes, I want to say, that Baker Mayfield is just Tim Tebow without Jesus. I thought that was pretty funny. But again, like, it's crazy to think they're already considering like shopping Odell and trading him away after 5 games of the season, and after making that big trade for him in the offseason. But I mean, Seattle is a pretty good team, man. Russell Wilson, he's making an MVP case right now, and it's just going to be very hard to see Seattle losing this game, especially, like I said, with all the problems that Cleveland is having. So I definitely got to rock with the Seahawks getting the win. And now we've got my game on the schedule, the Cincinnati Bengals, who are now 0-5. It's so cool to see the Bengals be 0-5 to start off their season. Being in the division, like, it's cool to see it. Anyways, they're coming to our house, taking on my Baltimore Ravens, who are now sitting at 3-2 on the season. Now, obviously, like I've always said before, division games are always played tough, and especially the Bengals, they always play us very tough as well. But honestly, we really should not struggle to win this game at all. Obviously, I'm picking my Ravens. It would not make sense, man. Like, my Ravens cannot fold over. Honestly, we need to have a really good performance against the Bengals here. Like, bounce back and show that, okay, we're done having our couple of struggles like we had in the past 3 weeks. Like, we need to come out here and put up a performance like we did week 1 against the Dolphins. Because, I mean, the Bengals O-line is absolutely terrible. We definitely need to get a lot of pressure and pick up multiple sacks this game because we haven't been doing that this year. We need to shut down their offense. I mean, they're without a couple of their receivers, having that bad offensive line. Their run game should do nothing against us. I mean, just everything is in the mix for us to have a really good game, man. And if anything but that happens, I'm not even going to know what to think. Oh man, this is going to be another great game to watch, man. We now have the San Francisco 49ers, who are 4-0. Hey man, Niners, I appreciate you guys for taking down the Browns last week. I definitely didn't think you guys were going to do it. I doubted you, but hey man, you guys pulled through for me, so I respect you, Niners. Anyways, they're going to take on their division rival, the LA Rams, who are now sitting at 3-2 on their season. Now, I think I am going to, however, be going with LA to win this game. I don't think the Niners, they're not going to have a 16-0 season. At some point, they are going to lose, and it has to be this week. The Rams are obviously still a very good team. It's a home matchup for the Rams, and this will be a big game to bounce back for them after, losing or dropping 2 games back-to-back in weeks 4 and 5. So I definitely think I see the Rams coming out on top of this game. Next up, we have the Atlanta Falcons. What is going on with them, man? They are sitting at 1-4 on their season. They're going to take on the Arizona Cardinals, who are sitting at 3-1 on their season. Kyler Murray finally got his first win of his career last week. I definitely thought the Bengals, if they were ever going to get a win, that was going to be last week against the Cardinals. But hey, man, Kyler Murray got it done. He finally got a win, and it was definitely a good one. He should have won that game against, one of the worst teams in the league right now. But for this matchup, man, I feel like I've still got to pick the Falcons. Obviously, they have their issues. They got problems, but they still have I would say semi-high-powered offense, man. They've got a lot of weapons. Matt Ryan still, he's on the decline, man. Matt Ryan's not looking too good, but it's just without Patrick Peterson, still being out from his suspension, I don't know, man. David Johnson's banged up on top of it. I just don't see the Falcons becoming one of the worst teams in the league and falling to 1-5, man. So, I don't know. I feel like this could go either way. I definitely think Kyler Murray could potentially win this game, but something's telling me to pick the Falcons to get their second win here. Next up on the schedule, we now have the Dallas Cowboys, who are sitting at 3-2 on their season. Another team that dropped back-to-back losses in the past 2 weeks. They, however, going to take on the winless New York Jets. They are sitting at 0-4 on their season. Obviously, we're going with Dallas to win this game, man. The Jets, they're just not that great of a team. I believe Sam Darnold actually could be coming back this game, but that's definitely not enough to be able to stop this Cowboys team, man. They're still a pretty solid team. They obviously struggled against 2 of the top teams in the league the past 2 weeks with the Saints and the Packers, but I don't see him losing to the Jets here. I keep forgetting to do this, man, and I hate myself for doing it. I forgot to mention the teams that are on a bye week this week. We've now got 4 teams on a bye, our first week with that many. We've got the Bills, Bears, Colts, and Raiders are all on their bye weeks this week, so that means we've only got 14 games on the schedule. So now that that's out of the way, next game up on the schedule, we have the Tennessee Titans, who are sitting at 2-3, going to take on the Denver Broncos. My guy, Joe Flacco, who is now sitting at 1-4, finally got a win with Denver, man. It was good to see. I actually couldn't believe it. I definitely didn't see them beating the Chargers, or, if there was ever going to be a point when they got that first win, I wasn't expecting it to be against LA, man. But as for this matchup, I'm rolling with my boy Joe Flacco again. I feel like they're starting to get into their groove, and this will be another good win to get here, man. Like, the Titans still aren't that great of a team. They have a pretty good defense, so it's going to be interesting to see what Joe Flacco and that offense is going to be able to do in that situation. But I'm going to say Joe Flacco picks up win number 2 of the season here, man. I'm going to still give him a little bit of faith and roll with him once again. So next up, Sunday Night Football. You guys just heard me talking about this game earlier. I definitely don't think this is going to be a super interesting game. I'm probably not going to pay super close attention to it. I'll probably just have it on in the background and, keep glancing over at the TV and whatnot. But we've got the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are now 1-4 with their 3rd string quarterback, going to take on the LA Chargers, who are now sitting at 2-3. Now, I definitely got to roll with the Chargers for this game, man. I don't see them dropping another game here in week number 6, especially a home game, primetime, against, like I said, a 3rd string quarterback to the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's got to be a definite Chargers win here. And last but not least, we have our Monday Night Football game. The Detroit Lions, coming off of their bye week, sitting at 2-1, going to take on one of the top teams in the league this season, the Green Bay Packers. They are killing it so far, man, now sitting at 4-1. So I'm not going to lie, I've definitely got part of my gut telling me to pick the Lions, because people just don't forget this. Like, they've been doing pretty good so far this season. I mean, obviously, they should have won that game against the Cardinals, so they should have 3 wins and not that tie. And then the game they lost against the Chiefs, like, they barely lost it, and they shouldn't have lost it had they not made a couple of mistakes. So the Lions are still a pretty darn good team in this league, man. You can't take that away from them. And I don't know, bro. Like I said, part of me is wanting to pick the Lions, but the other part of my gut is just telling me to stick with the Packers, because Green Bay still is a pretty darn good team, man. Like, I don't know, a home primetime game. It's a division matchup here. Obviously, I would say their division is wide open if the Packers would be able to lose this game here, man. But for some reason, I gotta stick with Green Bay. I gotta stick with my guy Aaron Rodgers and roll with them. I feel like they're going to be the guys that come out on top here at home, primetime, Monday Night Football. Even without Devontae Adams, that's definitely going to hurt him a little bit, man. But I guess I'm going to be going with Green Bay. So, boys, there you have it. There are my predictions for week number 6. I really hope I have a bounce back week this week, man, and not get, like, you know, only 6 games guessed correctly again. But anyways, before I let you guys go, of course, we got to go over Madden 20's predictions and see who they are choosing this week to win the games for week number 6. So starting things off with Thursday Night Football, they actually predicted the Giants to beat the Patriots. I'm not making this up. You guys will see this here at the end after I get over their predictions and I have the clip of who they chose. I can't believe it, man. So, hey, I'll take it, though. It's always nice to see a Madden 20 get games guessed in correctly. So following that, we now have the Panthers and the Buccaneers next up on the schedule. They're actually going to be picking the Buccaneers in this situation to pick up the win against the Panthers. That would be crazy to see if they actually win both of the games of the season against the Panthers this year. Next up, the battle of the garbage teams, both winless teams. We got the Redskins and the Dolphins. They're going with the Redskins to win this one. They're going against me once again here, choosing Washington to get their first win of the season here. Eagles and Vikings also going against me here, picking the Eagles to beat the Vikings. Wow, they're going against me a lot here. Holy crap. Okay, we've got the Texans and the Chiefs. They're going against me, picking Houston to take down Kansas City. For the Saints and the Jaguars, they got the Saints, again, continuing to just dominate with Teddy Bridgewater and get win after win, beating the Jaguars here. That'd be crazy to see. We have the Seahawks and the Browns. They have the Browns bouncing back and beating the 4-1 Seahawks. That's crazy, man. Now, next up, they actually are going to be picking my Ravens along with me, so I'm thankful for that. Next up, we have the Niners and the Rams. They have the Niners dominance continuing to just go on, man, going 5-0, beating the Rams here in this game. There's no way that happens. Next up, the Falcons and the Cardinals. They actually are going to be siding with us finally once again here. They're going to be choosing Atlanta to beat the Cardinals. Cowboys and the Jets, they will be choosing Dallas to beat the New York team. We've got the Titans and the Broncos going against us once again now, choosing the Titans to beat the Broncos. As for the Steelers and the Chargers, they will be choosing the home team, picking LA to beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. And last but not least, the Lions and the Packers, they are going to be choosing Green Bay to beat their division rival, the Detroit Lions. So there you guys have it, man. There are all of the predictions for week number 6, man. I still, once again, I say this every time, I can't believe how fast the season is going.